Well, hey, Mike, thanks for, coming here today and going over kind of the plan as far as how we're going to try to schedule this thing, counting backwards from November 2020, SEMA, and kind of planning, strategy, as far as how we're going to go, right? So in your opinion, what are you thinking we should tackle first?
Well, like we discussed earlier, we kind of need to make sure that we get the codes and on the BMW cleared and work out the damage to the rear suspension first and foremost. So we can either work OE parts we can find from a wrecking yard, or we can try to source some aftermarket components for the rear, getting the car driving first and foremost so that we can work out whatever bugs are there are first.
Yeah.
So we talked about possibly swapping some wheels and tires on another vehicle. We can't really cut into the car until we disassemble it, but we can get the majority of it just cleared out. And then once we get the body straightened out on this, we can roll the chassis out from underneath it, and then we can start cutting on
the fun can start at that point.
Yeah.
We were talking about measuring and trying to fit the car, and the reality is that we really haven't measured this BMW to see if it fits the Ford. But I think that the plan is that we're going to cut it and we're going to make it fit, whatever it takes. But I agree with you. I think that we need to start by getting the BMW rolling and driving, so we can, so if for the people that don't know, so the BMW it's a salvaged car that we got through a friend of ours who actually wrecked it. So we know the previous owner, he's owned it for 7 or 8 years, so we have some history on the car. There's been some previous tuning done on it. And so the car was totaled out by the insurance company. We bought it, and it has some bent up rear suspension. And
check engine lights.
And it's got,
Now, are the check engine lights from the tune, or are they from the accident?
Who knows?
That we should probably find out.
It's got multiple lights. It's got ABS light. It's got some lights that are going wacky.
And then obviously the plan is to try to eliminate all those headaches before we cut into the car and into the harness and everything else.
So that's really the plan, is to start on the BMW just to get it running. I mean, it's running, but to get it cleared out. And then I think simultaneously though, because we do have guys that are savvy on fabrication, so we can get them started on just putting the Ford back together, because the history with the Ford, there's also history with that car too. Somebody chopped it or started the chop 20 years ago, and then it's set in the garage ever since then. And I'm not sure if it's a blessing or a curse, to be honest with you, because it's chopped, it's kind of there roughly, but it's not finished, and it's not finished to the point of, it's actually the whole left side of it is cut out of it, because they did a really unique chop on this car. I've done a couple of different chops in the past, and this is a style that I haven't even seen yet. They actually shortened the car to fit the roof.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so it's pretty different. And so, but that, is going to bring some different challenges to get the Ford together enough before we unbolt it from the frame. So, but I think we can work on that. And then I think another step right now is going to be to get a lift in here.
Oh, absolutely.
So I'm looking at, sourcing a lift and get the lift installed, so that we can really go to work at that point. And I think that being that it's, what is this right now, December 1st or something like that. I think if we start the actual build January 1, I'd like to look to see if we can be a part of the International Rat Rod Build-Off. I think that starts in January 1 and goes to SEMA. So I'd like to see if we can be part of that. And then we technically officially don't start the build until that time.
If we could work off of build the car around a particular size wheel and tire package, as opposed to swapping everything over and then going a different direction.
Yeah. I agree with you. I think if we start with a wheel that the wheel sponsor wants to showcase, and in this case, I think they want to go pretty monster size, which I'm okay with. I think that's a good direction. That is the direction for the car. I want it to be super wide and aggressive looking. And so if we do get some blanks over that we can start test fitting and then start mocking up, to the car, and then try to figure out what kind of a fender size we need to go with and whether we're going to be able to build those fenders in-house. It's been a long time, and I don't have a lot of the tools that we used to have either.
Are we looking at running similar wheel and tire package front to rear?
As far as the size, I think for sure we're going to go staggered width, and I haven't decided if we're going to go staggered diameter too. But we're looking at pretty large size at this point. So, what's been thrown around out there is that maybe 20s on the front with maybe a 12-inch wide, and then maybe 22s on the rear with a 14-inch wide, possibly even up to a 26 by 16. So some really wild sizes.
Okay. We'll have to work around tire availability, obviously.
Right.
So
that's another factor as well. Mm-hmm. And then suspension, we really would like to go probably coilover so we can keep it performance oriented. Airbags are an option still, but I think that's what we'd like to do. And then performance brakes, aftermarket brakes, some large brakes.
Yeah, and then let's finalize our schedule, pen out a plan to get this thing accomplished by SEMA.
Yeah.